big pay-per-view before WrestleMania. It's on the same night as the NXT Takeover.
The gamesmanship of UFC, man.
In the Barclays Center too. They're
Barclays
even taking
Center,
their arena in a way. WWE's like main arena.
That's the new MSG for WWE right there.
Yeah, and what's funny is UFC has MSG. They use MSG now
they do.
too.
Yeah.
So they finally got the clearance to start fighting in the state of New York. So I guess that's why they do Brooklyn too. But they having a big pay-per-view. So we want to talk about this, fully analyze this pay-per-view because we're not going to talk about it next week. And we want to give it the proper go of it. But the two big fights on this card are, we finally have the fight between the lightweight champion Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib Nurmagomedov is said to potentially be the best pound for pound fighter in the UFC. Has never had a title shot because this fight between him and Tony Ferguson has just never been able to happen because each of them has gotten injured a bunch of times. They're finally headlining.
I get to see it.
Yeah, they're finally headlining, and the winner of this fight is also going to be the true undisputed lightweight champion. They're stripping Conor McGregor of the title because this fight is happening.
Thank God.
It's just inactivity from Conor McGregor.
They should have stripped him when he went to go fight Floyd Mayweather.
Well, no, I mean, he still could have fought Floyd Mayweather, but he just needed to defend his title by now. I mean, I get that he's had enough time to get back in the UFC ring. I mean, I get boxing training is different, but your cardio is the same, and Conor McGregor is talented enough to get back in the ring already. But so that's two big things about that fight. And then the rematch between Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I think I got that name right.
No worries.
You should see the last. You should see. I'm going to show you her last name.
It's a complicated last name.
That's her first name?
No, Joanna is her first name and then the last name.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
And then Rose Namajunas, who won the title from her in a surprise
I remember
win.
that fight between the first one. Yeah,
they call Rose 11 because she shaved her head before that fight. She had a full head of hair, and then going into the fight, she did the Undertaker style and just shaved her head going into the fight to intimidate Joanna. And now she won the fight. She's taking the world by storm. So these are two fights that would easily headline any UFC fight or any UFC card, and they're both on this card. I'm telling you, both these fights are main events, and they're both on this card. So those are the two main ones. Guys, what's your take so far on this?
First of all, this is big for UFC. Sorry to interrupt, Nick, but this is big. This is big for UFC because as far as I'm hearing, the pay-per-view buys have actually declined. It's been slumping. So
they haven't had good shows the last couple months.
So they've really been struggling. And with Conor McGregor going, Ronda Rousey going over to WWE, Brock Lesnar teetering between WWE and UFC. And people going over, and we talked about Jones, and his steroid allegations and all those issues.
Exactly. There's a lot
there's just too much stuff going on with UFC right now. It's in flux. It's a lot like the NFL right now. They're in flux. So I think they need shows like this, and maybe even the show in July with Stipe versus DC. You've got to have that. You've got to have these types of matches and these types of cards to really get people back excited about your brand, interested. I think it's going to be a great show, and it's going to be side by side with NXT.
Yeah,
that's tough there.
I think
that's
the way
tough.
NXT
weekend, dude.
Exactly. Yeah. NXT is usually a 2-hour show, and I think the way NXT does it is they put it on live from 5 to 7 o'clock, and I think the UFC main events actually start at 7. So you actually can watch both. That's what I'll do. I'll watch both. A lot of times, I don't watch the pre-fight shows on FS1 or Fox or whatever. I usually just watch the pay-per-views.
Just have 2 TV screens, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I might have to do that, I'm definitely watching both these because these are going to be both those cards, the NXT card and UFC, are both going to be worthwhile. I don't want to miss Khabib potentially finally winning the title, and this rematch between Rose and Joanna, and I'm going to say their names because I'm not saying their last names anymore. Right, I'm going to show you how they spell Joanna Jędrzejczyk's last name, and there's J's and K's all next to each other. It's crazy, but. Yeah, so these
as long as there's not 3 Ks next to each other. As long as there's not 3 Ks next to each other.
I can promise you.
Okay, good. Okay, well, you can show it.
There's no 3 Ks. But Eric, what's your take on this card?
I gotta agree with Ryan. He does make valid points about how the pay-per-view buys have been slumping lately due to what's been happening to guys like John Jones and also Brock Lesnar teaming with UFC and WWE, and him saying that he's gonna be like he does what he wants. If I fight UFC, I'll fight UFC. If I want to fight WWE, I'll fight WWE. But looking at Joanna and Rose, that match I'm looking forward to because the last match, I had a feeling that Rose was gonna take that fight seriously, and I know that Joanna had tried to do as much as she could to try to poke at her, try to taunt her and try to bully her in the beginning of the fight. But Rose, I remember in the interview, she said that what she did was she meditated and she just tried to stay calm before the fight. And then once the bell rung, that's when she went at it and she just did her best to rip her apart. And she did that. And I think Joanna, she won her respect after the fight. And I know that Joanna's just gonna come at her and get her belt back. But I'm totally with Rose on this one.
You're going to take Rose?
Yeah, I'm backing Rose on this one. I support her, and she's a great fighter, and I'm pretty sure she's going to do the same thing to Joanna. And I think in this bout, I think it's going to end in a submission.
You going submission?
Yeah, submission.
See, it's not going the full way.
Yeah.
I think this fight could go the full 5 rounds because I think Joanna might have. And UFC fighters don't do this a lot, but it does happen. Just natural human, just natural human stuff. But I think Joanna might have not taken her 100% seriously going into that
first
fight.
one, yeah.
And now she absolutely will. Because Joanna had defended her title multiple times before that. She was the clear straw weight champion for the women. And so I think this fight's going to be an absolute banger. And then you have Tony Ferguson and Khabib, who are both submission artists, and they are guys that fight will probably be majority on the ground. But I don't really. I think in that case you might see a submission.
Yeah,
you could see.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're not going to see a submission in the Rosewood, but I just think the way that's a rematch. So I think it'd be a little tougher. I think Joanna's going to be absolutely on her game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think Joanna's going to try to change her style a little bit and try to review what she did wrong in the last fight because I know that she underestimated her in the first match, and so she's going to probably change it up. And Rose is probably also going to change up her style as well. So Rose, she's going to do the exact same thing, but maybe in a different style, and maybe try to get back at her, try to deflect her her strategy, and then she'll do the same thing, and they might go for submission holds. And I think she'll do the same thing, and I think that's how the match is going to happen. But with Ferguson and Khabib, I think the same thing is going to happen with it might end in a submission, but if I got to go with some guy who's going to win this match, it's probably going to be Ferguson.
Oh, you're going Ferguson.
I think it might be an upset.
Okay.
An upset victory,
Interesting. Because Khabib has looked unstoppable so far, but so did Francis Ngannou when he went into that fight. And I think this is a little different than that fight because I think the endurance for both fighters will be prime. Khabib coming into the fight 25-0 and hasn't lost.
Woo!
Yeah, well, and the thing about this too is
that boy good.
Yeah.
No, he is, and he's the way he's fought in those fights too. He's kind of dominated each of those fights. So, but Tony Ferguson, there's a reason he's the champ, right? He's beaten Kevin Lee, he's beaten Rafael dos Anjos, he's beaten all these guys. He's a good fighter as well. The only reason this fight hasn't happened yet is because both guys have been injured on untimely times.
But do you think that injury might get in the way with that match?
No, I think they're both going in healthy. I haven't heard anything as far as any injuries involved with either of these fights, which is good because I think the training is kind of stopped by now. You have a week till the fight or whatever, so the training is not at full force like it might have been, let's say, a month ago when injuries might happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. You're going with a Tony Ferguson upset.
It might be an upset, yeah.
I have to go with Khabib. I've just seen too many dominant performances from Khabib. It's hard for me to not pick him, but I've seen upsets before. I mean,
true.
It could happen. And there's, like I said, there's a reason Tony Ferguson's the champ. Ryan, what's your take on these two? What do you think is going to happen in these two fights?
Khabib wins.
Okay.
JK wins.
You gotta dig that wig that Khabib has.
I mean, domination and annihilation. That sells tickets, baby. Domination and annihilation.
In
like
MSG, man.
In Barclays Center, homie.
Barclays
Center.
What am I saying?
Yeah.
But have we heard anything from Punk? Fighting?
No, I should look that up real quick right now.
I don't know who he's facing, and at this point in the game, I really don't care because CM Punk is 40 years old, and he's competing in his second match in the UFC on a pre-show match. I just don't think that's going to help
That's what
him
he should've
elevate
done the
his
first
stat.
time.
But we all knew that they were capitalizing off of his hatred for WWE, and we know that the fans are gonna cheer him on, buy the pay-per-view, and the pay-per-view did fantastic buys, didn't it? It did great buys. It
Well,
did
you
great
also
buys.
had the hometown.
It was Cleveland.
You also
It
had
was
the
in
hometown
Cleveland.
favorite of Stipe Miocic in the heavyweight
That's
championship.
true, yeah.
He was fighting in his hometown of
His
Cleveland,
favorite, man.
and he hasn't given up the title yet. So, going all the way back to that fight, that was maybe another reason why that pay-per-view got a lot of buys. But I think CM Punk was the main driving
CM
force.
Punk was the main thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Whether you're a UFC fan or not a WWE fan, Punk was the reason why there was a lot of draw for that match between him and Mickey Gall.
No.
Which, by the way, like I keep saying, I'm going to put out an Amber Alert for Mickey Gall because I don't know where that man is, APB, whatever, because I don't know where that man went ever since he destroyed CM Punk in like 20 seconds.
Well, here's the thing, though, because he destroyed essentially amateur MMA fighter, so it's not really that impressive. And I think he's lost since then. I haven't followed his career as much, but I think he's lost since then. Because facing CM Punk really isn't that hard. It's like when they put these jobbers out there for Oscar to beat up,
Damn.
or Nia Jax to beat up. So
I really hope one day though we get our dream of CM Punk and Conor McGregor somewhere around.
I thought you were gonna say Brock.
That's
Lesnar.
going to take a long
Yeah.
time. That's going to take years for CM Punk to even.
It's not
fulfill
gonna
that.
happen
But,
because Conor McGregor would slaughter him in the ring.
Yeah.
Like he would kill him.
But MMA fans, they want to see Mayweather and McGregor. If
Mayweather
jumping,
and Punk.
yeah, or Mayweather and Punk, since Mayweather has
Now
been,
that would be a matchup I would be
here's the thing.
interested in
Let's
seeing.
Let's say this. I think he had a 3-fight deal, right, when he first signed his deal. So this is only a second fight, obviously. If he were to lose this one and not look that good, I think the only way you give him that third fight is against a guy like Mayweather. Two seemingly amateur. Then you have a guy that could actually beat up Floyd Mayweather, right? How great would it be for our guy?
and
our
the promos
WWE
and the
guy?
promos would be
yeah,
fantastic
promos
too.
would be good.
Well, because Punk didn't hit promos last time going into his fight. Hopefully he does a better job. I think he was. I don't want to say nervous, but I think he didn't want to go off on the wrong foot and talk too much crap before he got his ass kicked in a way. I think.
Well, didn't Mickey Gall say something to him, and he was just like, he just said, I don't know what that guy was saying. I don't really just talk that trash. Like, I just do it in the ring.
Yeah,
I don't know
think-
what he was saying.
I know. It always disappoints me when these guys that are great talkers in the WWE, like in real life, aren't kind of like. That's why I have appreciation for the Miz because he acts like that in real life. He acts like a heel in real life too, which is what you should do. Or you play heel on TV, you should be heel in real life.
Don't
too.
sign the autographs for the kids.
No, exactly.
Nah, man.
Absolutely not.
Nah,
Absolutely
F
not.
the kids,
Just
man.
be a jerk.
No.
You're a heel.
Just be a complete jackass to people,
But
on
so
the
CM
planes,
Punk,
wherever.
maybe obviously people are going to watch the fight, but draw a little more eyes. Call the guy out, talk some trash. It'll be a way to do it. But I think if he does lose though this next fight, you got to think about doing something like that with Mayweather because.
Or you just don't let him do his next third fight and let him inevitably go back to the WWE for
but
that
you would
Triple
not
H for that
you
hot
would not
storyline
be
at
excited
WrestleMania.
about Mayweather possibly.
Oh
fighting
no,
CM Punk?
absolutely, absolutely. Anything Money Mayweather is Money Mayweather, man. Anything Money Mayweather touches, man, it turns into gold. Actually, it turns into
100%.
green. It turns into green for him,
Doesn't turn
man.
into gold.
Yeah.
Until Uncle Sam comes and takes it.
Hey man,
okay.
even those titles
Alright.
he gets are
Yeah.
green. They're not even gold. They're not even gold titles. They're like green titles.
Green.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Dude, he's got a tree, that has money. Okay.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean,
Wait a minute. He has a money tree?
I
he
didn't
probably
know.
does.
I didn't know he has a
probably-
money tree.
He probably
I
does.
know he has a strip club. That's
He probably has a money tree, growing out of his backyard.
What?
Mayweather money.
That's where
tree.
Kendrick Lamar got his song from, Money Trees?
Probably.
For the back house of Mayweather?
Pretty sure they're like good buddies, Who knows? But yeah.
I'm looking it up. Yeah.
Money tree.
Some of these articles have the weirdest ads on them.
They do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's a scam. Don't
Sorry, I'm
fall
still
for
looking
that.
it up.
Don't fall for
They
that.
don't show pictures.
The money tree.
Just go to images.
But I did see this is reported on TMZ Sports. Mayweather was grading
What the? What the? And then you wonder. And then you wonder why the government's after your money.
Okay.
Then you wonder why the government's after your money.
Stupidest looking money tree.
That's ridiculous.
Look at how weak. Look at how like low rate that money tree looks. He just put a bunch of strings and hung down
Dude,
like
that
$100
Who cares? The
bills.
government's after you,
That
and
looks
you're
like an
putting up money
elementary-
trees,
that looks
man.
like an elementary-
Whatever.
All he did was bring a fake tree. All he did was put a fake tree
That looks
in
like
here.
a playhouse, theater like. Wow.
This is gonna be the picture we use for this video when we post it. Yeah, this money tree video.
The money tree. That should be the episode
Oh
name.
man.
Money trees.
Money
Money
trees.
trees.
But I was on TMZ Sports. I did see an update with Mayweather. He was talking about how he's been grading.
He's legitimately doing it, dude.
Yeah,
I think he's actually gonna fight.
He's
which is
grading. Yeah, he's grading.
Really stupid of him to do.
Yeah, he's grading like his performance. He says that his punches are 100 over 10.
Okay,
and wrestling, he
Hey,
says
what
that
about his kicks? How are his
he
kicks?
said he should improve on his
How
kicks.
are his submissions?
Look,
I think
let me
that
explain
those
something.
are not his strengths.
Mayweather just playing, y'all, man. All he wants to do is get 1-2 fights. That's it. Get his 100 million, 200 million, and get out of there, man. Get out of
He's
Dodge.
not getting 100 million from a UFC
and make more
fight.
money trees.
You don't make that much money. That's why I don't understand why he's going to make money.
10,
more money than a
15
strip
mil.
club or whatever is going to make.
Think about it. Think about it. He's going to make money. He's probably going to do a deal with Showtime and all these other networks to get some revenue off of that. He's probably going to get some deal from the venue. He's going to probably get deal off merchandise. I mean, Mayweather has so many ways to make money. It's just brilliant. It's just freaking brilliant. He just shows it off and
pretty much a
does
promoter.
stupid stuff
But
like putting it on
but
trees
it's-
and hanging just dangling it with paper
This
clips.
is what I'm saying. If it's in the UFC, he doesn't have as much control. You can't even wear what you want in the UFC. You have to wear the UFC garb
The-
to the ring.
the
You
gloves
can't
and the
wear-
shorts.
You can't
Yeah.
wear your.
Is there
promotion.
do they fine you if you don't wear it?
I just don't
Because
even
I'm
think-
pretty
I don't
sure
even think-
Mayweather would just
I
pay the
don't
fine
even
and be
think
like,
they
I don't
allow
care.
you to do it. I think they just they're like UFC strict on.
Well,
stuff,
if you're
but
like a big
you're right.
star,
I mean, if you walked out with a freaking chain around this thing that said
Well, if
the
you're-
money tree or something, I don't think.
well, if you're a
whatever, who
big
cares?
star, if you're a big star like Mayweather, don't you think that he could have his own gear? Like he would convince Dana White.
Yeah,
and the
but then
commission-
Conor McGregor would have to have his own gear, and then Khabib after he wins this fight,
yeah.
he's gonna have his own gear, and then it's gonna create all this other stuff. So I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah,
though.
because they all used to have that. Ortiz, he had the team punishment gear, and then
But that was
Brock
different.
Lesnar.
That was different though, because back then,
Death Clutch.
this stuff only happened I think in 2015 when they forced them to
with Reebok.
start wearing the Reebok gear. It's like WWE guys, except for Brock Lesnar, cannot wear advertisements on their stuff.
Sponsorships.
It's the same thing.
Which is one of the reasons why CM Punk ended up leaving, because he went to Vince McMahon and said, "Hey, I want to do advertisements," and
that's
he was
true,
like, "No, I can't do that." And then months later, Brock Lesnar came in with his own deal.